Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carly Ohm, and tonight I'll be talking to you about a very controversial topic that many Americans question. Now, you may be wondering what exactly that topic is, given the wide variety of controversial topics out there, such as Obamacare, same-sex marriages, the tax code, or even the gun laws that seem to be under the microscope lately. But first, I want you to take a look at a few things. One of the main reasons the United States sticks out from the rest of the world is because it is the land of the free. After all, a right given to all is the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, during the course of this speech, I want you all to think to what truly makes you happy. Times have changed is the understatement of the century. The world we live in today is very different than that in the biblical times. I mean, can you even imagine Moses seeing a Ferrari, or Noah seeing the enormous steam engine Titanic? As in the Bible, though, family is still very important to many people today. A key thing that brings families more closer together is marriage. After all, do you think you would be as nice to that annoying mother or father-in-law if it wasn't for you being married to their son or daughter? Just kidding. But really though, a newly engaged couple might tell you that in order to be completely happy together and start their journey through life together, they need to get married. In fact, most married couples will tell you the happiest moment of their life and thereafter was them getting married. Well, imagine going to bed every night, not with your husband or your wife, but your so-called partner, because state law forbids that person to be either of the first two to you. Not only does the topic of same-sex marriage have the United States divided, but it also brings into question the amendments of the Constitution. One of the main arguments of the opponents of same-sex marriage is that the church and state should be separated, i.e., the First Amendment. Congress will make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. With that being said, no church will be forced to marry same-sex couples if they do not wish to do so. I say again, no church will be forced to marry same-sex couples if they do not wish to do so. A courthouse with a judge and a witness will suffice as a legal way to marry your better half pending the law within your state. Going back though to the religious aspect of getting married, I want to talk to you about a James Kaufman research over homosexuality and the Bible. Mr. James Kaufman writes a letter to a Dr. Laura Schlesinger, an Orthodox Jew, who she states that according to Leviticus chapter 18 verses 22, homosexuality is an abomination. Now the letter that Mr. Kaufman writes to her is this, right here. Leviticus chapter 25 verses 44 states that I may possess slaves, both male and female, provided they are purchased from neighboring nations. A friend of mine claims that this applies to Mexicans but not to Canadians. Can you clarify? Why can't I own Canadians? When I burn a bull on the altar as a sacrifice, I know it creates a pleasing odor for the Lord, according to Leviticus chapter 1 verses 9. The problem is my neighbors. They claim the odor is not pleasing to them. Should I smite them? Now, according to Leviticus chapter 21, verses 20, it states that I may not approach the altar of God if I have a defect in my sight. I have to admit, I wear reading glasses. Does my vision have to be 20/20, or is there some wiggle room here? I know from Leviticus chapter 11, verses 6 through 8, that touching the skin of a dead pig makes me unclean. But may I still play football if I wear gloves? My uncle has a farm. He violates Leviticus chapter 19, verses 19 by planting 2 different crops in the same field, as does his wife by wearing garments made of 2 different kinds of thread, cotton and polyester blends. He also tends to curse and blaspheme a lot. Is it really necessary that we go to all the trouble of getting the whole town together just to stone them, according to Leviticus chapter 24, verses 10 through 6? Couldn't we just burn them to death at a private family affair, like we do with people who sleep with their in-laws, according to Leviticus chapter 14? Now, Kaufman's many questions go unanswered by Laura, but does this honestly surprise you, or anyone for that matter? According to Luke chapter 6, verses 37, it says, "Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, lest you be condemned." Now, keeping that in mind, why does it seem that today homosexuals are ignored, condemned, and penalized, while heterosexuals are sanctioned by the church and the state and are celebrated in all walks of life? Says a one Diana Lawyer in her book about interpersonal relationships. I tend to agree with that statement. Why is it that homosexuals are more so crucified than heterosexuals? In addition to religious beliefs being the main reason for questioning marriage rights, there are also other factors that seem to come into mind. For instance, there is no scientific evidence that being raised in a same-sex family harms the children in those families, according to a peer-reviewed literature by one Townsley. In that same literature, there was stated homosexual couples have fewer issues than heterosexual couples, according to a 10-plus year research. Plus, over half of gay men and lesbian women are in a steady relationship, and the many older homosexual couples have been in a 20-plus year relationship. Now, another misuse of a term is known as AIDS. AIDS is a term that usually goes hand in hand with homosexuals. But did you know that in fact, AIDS' origin has still to this day not been identified other than it came from Africa? So everybody's saying that it's due to homosexuals? We don't know. We only know it came from Africa. In fact, the epidemiology of AIDS research shows that the majority of infected humans with the AIDS virus is heterosexuals, with a possible 8% worldwide. Now let's go back and look at the Constitution. According to the General Accounting Office of the Federal Government in 1997, over 1,000 laws have been granted to married heterosexual couples, excluding gay couples. Now this looks like discrimination to anyone who knows what discrimination is. This in mind, it wasn't until October 1st, 1948, that the ban on interracial marriages came into effect. Just to clarify, California's anti-misengagement law forbid Negro peoples to marry a white person. Today, that is far in the past, and no court would probably even hear a case that is trying to ban an interracial marriage. I don't blame them. Only 13 states have laws protecting homosexuals, while the rest do not. State law, according to many states, won't allow the boyfriend or girlfriend of a gay man or lesbian woman to visit them in hospital because they are, one, either not a family member, or two, they are not a spouse. They have to be one or two of those to be able to see the person that they're trying to see in the hospital. I ask you right now, do you think that this is discrimination? Even if you are not a gay or lesbian, do you think it is right to deny anyone the right to marry the person of their choice? In conclusion, the government is making it seem that no matter the content of your character, you will be treated as a second-class citizen due to the sexual orientation of yourself. No matter the color of your skin or the ancestry of your origin, being a United States citizen, you are supposed to be guaranteed the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. On the flip side of that, if we are indeed the United States, then why is it that we are a divided nation on a simple topic such as allowing everyone the right to marry the one they love? Thank you for your attention, and I hope these facts make you think twice about denying anyone a right which is rightfully theirs. Thank you and have a good night.